So we never did a character build guide for the ultimate staff character.
Let's fix that. We can do a Staff Master D&D character build guide.
I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
And I'm Nerdarchy Dave. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds.
In this video, it's going to be all stick, no carrot.
So a while back, we did kind of a theory build guide, all the different ways to use a staff wielding character, and there are a lot, which we'll get into a minute. But first of all, as always, this is a character build guide. That means a couple things. One, you'll be able to go to the DM's Guild and download the guide itself for pay what you want. And as always, there's also like an NPC we create using this this build as well over there. So you can pay what you want for free or $1 million, whatever you want. Also, we'll have a D&D Beyond character sheet that you can follow along and check out. It's only fair to mention D&D Beyond is a sponsor for this video. So you can take a look at that as well. There will be links in the description down below. So let's kind of jump into it and, start breaking it down.
All right, so with these, we always have to kind of go through the options and see, what we're looking at, where we're going to build off of, because as we mentioned in that previous video, there's a lot of different ways to fight with a staff. I mean, we literally figured out in that previous video that you can use any stat to fight with a staff but your Constitution modifier.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways to build it. For race options, we have a couple that we're looking at here.
So for this, we are looking more of the simplistic visual. The dude who's not walking around with any armor on. It's just a guy in a stick that can totally be overlooked, that is just going to whoop your ass.
It's kind of like the homespun hero, if you would. So for that, we're looking at human because, variant human is really hard to pass up. Also, the particular build we're looking at might require some feats. We're also looking at lizard folk and turtle.
We're also going to look at Lokatha. This one has a serious issue because it's got to be in water every 4 hours. So if you're not playing a coastal or river type game, that race is going to have some serious options. But because it does have a way to calculate armor class, we did put it in the list.
Also, there was a little appeal for me anyway, as a fisher person, who can also whoop the daylights out of you using their fishing pole.
That was definitely a fun thought, and we'll see whether that's the direction we went or not.
All right, now let's look at all the class options, and this is where we kind of get into the nitty-gritty of, you can use every stat but Constitution. First up is the Artificer, specifically the Battlesmith, which allows you to use your intelligence modifier if your staff is magical, as opposed to some other stat. And you're an Artificer, you make things magic, so that's fairly easy to make happen.
We can look at Druid, who can cast Shillelagh, turning that staff into a magic weapon and using your wisdom modifier to be able to attack with. Super helpful, super useful, and if you're thinking about going au natural, why not go with the Druid?
Fighters are going to fight, and, well, they're just going to use their strength on this one.
We have our Monk, which is going to allow us to use our dexterity modifier because it is a monk weapon. Super helpful, super useful. And, let's face it, who is the best with a staff? Why not be a monk?
Ranger makes sense. I mean, you can get access to Shillelagh being a ranger if you go with the Druidic Warrior, I believe, which would give you access. Paladin because, well, smites, of course. And there is one more because there's also one more stat that we have not mentioned yet.
So how do we get to use our charisma modifier?
That would be Warlock and a Hexblade.
There you go. So lots of different options, lots of different ways. And, depending upon what you ultimately envision the staff warrior doing, are you going total monk style and you want to go to town with all of your flurry of blows and unarmed attacks? Are you looking to go fighter and just be the best warrior you can possibly be? So many different options, so many different ways. So what's next?
Backgrounds. For this one, obviously soldier just kind of makes sense. Like, you had to learn how to fight somewhere. Folk hero, homespun hero, like that works. And also we already mentioned fisher, so that one would work as well.
The dude who whoops butt with the fishing pole, is kind of amusing.
Also, I think like kind of going on with this like kind of like this plain Jane that just wants to be left alone, or plain John, if you would, just wants to be left alone. Hermit would work as well.
I would agree with that. Before we dive in and actually let you know how we went ahead and built this combo, if you like these videos, if you'd like to help us keep making more, why not head over to Patreon and be a supporter over there?
As a special thank you, every month you will receive 5e content for both players and GMs alike. There's subclasses, races, feats, spells, drop-in encounters, maps from our own games, print and play magic item cards, chance to game with Nerdarchy, and so much more. There'll be a link down in the description.
All right, so from here, let's get into our stats and, let them to try and kind of guess and play along. So we went with a 14 strength, a 14 dexterity, and a 13 constitution.
And in mentals, we went intelligence of 10, wisdom of 12, and a charisma of 11.
So, all right, so we're pretty much rolling out Warlock and Artificer right there. So some selections are already falling off the menu.
Oh, yeah, because we do get bonuses to strength and wisdom.
If we take a particular thing,
which we're going with to mention next, which is the Tortle race.
So we definitely see this as that simple not wearing armor spawn thing. So Tortle is going to give us just a straight 17 armor class right from level 1. We don't need to worry about stats for it. We don't need to worry about anything else. We can just have it and be done.
Next up, we have to go with our background. And again, we really like this person to be kind of simple and like unassuming. Like, they didn't choose the adventuring life, it chose them, and nothing says that better than the folk hero, in my opinion.
Yeah, so you can come up with whatever fabulous story works for the campaign setting and the character that you want to make, but something happened in this particular individual's life to stand out. They saved someone, they did something that was enough to make them stand out, and now all eyes, at least in that particular place, is on this individual. So folk hero, it's fabulous. You're going to get some fun things to go along with it.
Yeah, nothing that really screams to the build itself, but as a folk hero, we are going to get handle animals. We're going to take insight because we already got survival from our racial feature. We're going to take calligraphy set. We just like to draw maps of the places we wander to. It's kind of seems like a Tortle thing to kind of do.
I would agree.
And we also have land vehicles. So with the combination of land vehicles, survival, handle animal, calligraphy set, like this is just like kind of someone that like travels around. I feel like they've got a wagon pulled by something really cool, maybe a giant tortoise or something.
That would be slightly amusing.
Like they can walk faster than it pulls, but they're not in a hurry.
Indeed. All right, so from here, we're actually doing something with a character build that we've never actually done before on this particular channel. We're going to take levels all in one class. Usually we try to come up with interesting, pieces of how this mechanic overlaps with this. But for this particular build, we don't feel that anything is actually going to trump just being a straight level 1 through 20 fighter.
Yeah, I mean, while we really like the idea and theme of the character being kind of simple and unassuming, but we also really want them to be really badass with a stick, with a staff, and no one fights better than a fighter, right? And we're gonna be able to do some cool things. So I guess let's start off with what we get for being a level 1 fighter.
So first off, we're going to get skills, and for this one, we're actually going in a very unfightery direction. We're going to take perception and history. This is actually going to kind of help balance out the lower stat choices that we've made. We're also going to get access to our second wind and our first fighting style, and because a staff can be a two-handed weapon fighting, we're going to take great weapon fighting.
Yeah, and based off the build that we're going to go with, we're going to be very much encouraged to use it in 2 hands. So we'll take advantage of that. Second level, Action Surge is awesome. Third level, we're going to get to choose our archetype, and we're going to go with something kind of plain and unassuming.
So we're going to take Champion. This is the one that allows us to actually just naturally be better. So you're going to get some features that are going to improve your crit range and be a remarkable athlete when we get that one. So like these are things that just strive to make them physically better.
Yeah, improved critical is a great ability. 1920 you crit on. 4th level, we get our first ASI. We're going to go with a feat. We're using a staff. POLEARM Master is awesome for using a staff. So now, at 4th level, we can actually get 3 attacks in a single round. Our bonus action, we smack with the butt end of the weapon. Our regular action, our attack action, we just hit them with the regular part of the weapon. And if they come at us as a reaction, we can hit them with our weapon as well. So that's not bad.
And then once we get to 5th level, we're going to now add on another attack because we get the extra attack. And this is only going to climb as we gain more and more levels in fighter, with them getting extra attack 2 and extra attack 3. So
right, and with getting all those attacks or more opportunities to roll a 19 or 20 to get those crits. 6th level, we're going to get another feat, and we were really hard pressed, or ASI, we went with feat. We were really hard pressed to pick which one we were going to take. We actually went with Crusher, because it's going to give us a +1 to strength or con. We had that odd number for a con, so we're going to even that out. Crusher's a lot of fun. Once per round, once per turn, I should say, when we hit something, we can move them 5 feet. Well, if they come at us on their turn, we can do that and push them. If we hit them on our turn, we can push them. So that gives us a little bit of flexibility. And then if we happen to get a critical until the start of our next turn, then everyone gets advantage to hit them. Well, this works out really good
with Champion. 7th level, we're going to get that remarkable athlete that I, talked about earlier. Not super helpful for our build, but, definitely makes this character a little bit more flexible.
Improves our initiative.
8th level, we're going to get another ASI, and here is where we're beginning to see like the cogs of this particular build coming into motion, because we're going to get another ASI, and we're going to put that into Sentinel, the feat. Now, when somebody moves in on their turn, we can use our Crusher feat along with the Polearm Master. We're going to make an attack when they come into our reach. We smack them with Crusher. We push them back. With Sentinel, their speed becomes 0. So if they don't have a reach of 10 foot or greater, which why would they be coming within 5 feet if they do, we stop them from being able to make an attack. Really solid, sort of things that all work well together.
Yeah, and that's kind of the drawback with the Polearm Master Sentinel combo with the Quarterstaff. You don't have that extra reach to stop them where they can't attack you. But when you combine it with Crusher, then you can. But not only that, Sentinel allows you to attack them if they make an attack and, on someone that's not you, and they're within your reach. So again, it's just we're probably always going to be able to use our reactions to take another attack. So we're getting 5 attacks a round at this point. I would say it's almost guaranteed.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. A lot of working pieces to get to this point. Now I feel from here, from an 8th level, we've got everything locked in that we really need. Everything else from this point going forward is just going to make us better as we improve our stats, increase our hit points, and double down on things like our Action Surge and Indomitable and all these other things that kind of build on top of that.
Yeah, there's only a couple things worth mentioning. 10th level, we get another fighting style. We took Superior Technique for lunging attack. Again, this just gives us more reach in the battlefield and what we can do. And
more damage in case, you happen to roll that 19 or 20 and you're just looking to add some extra dice into that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take our strength all the way up to 20. We're going to max that out. And once we have that maxed out, we'll move to con, except for our final ASI, which we go back to feats. And we're going to take tough, because at this point, we just want more hit points.
Now, the thing here that was a decision, because con doesn't apply to skills, we already have con as a good save for us being a fighter.
That's not true, though. You might need your con to hold your breath.
No, we're a turtle. We don't really need that. The only real difference that, kind of balanced the scales was our 18th level ability, Survivor, is going to allow us to heal hit points during battle when we're below half. That is 5 plus our con mod. So, was it worth the extra 1 hit point that you get per round versus gaining a total of an extra 20 hit points? We veered on the side of let's just be a tough mofo and have, all those extra hit points at that high level.
And also, when we max out, we're probably doing like 6 attacks a round.
Yeah, it's
That stick is moving super fast.
so it's pretty nice. You know, we definitely like this. It was definitely a lot of conversation back and forth as to, you know, the early part of, well, what direction are we going with this? We realized that, you know, just going with a single class build on this, it allows us to, number one, do something we hadn't done before here on the channel, and number two, really make something that, you know, is showing off the power of what a single class character can actually do if you just focus on a particular concept.
Yeah, there was 2 problems to overcome. One was that we didn't want this character to wear armor, right? And 2, this character has a lot of feats that it needs. And the best way to get feats are human variant and fighter. But if we're a human variant, then we're very squishy. We're gonna have like our dex modifier. That's it for not wearing armor or doing something else and multi-classing to get it. And like if we're multi-classing, and the only reason we multi-class is to get a better armor class unarmored, I just felt like there's other races we could have just taken and gotten that and not sacrifice, you know, our feat progression.
Indeed. And so that was a tough ladder to climb, but ultimately I'm pretty happy with what we came up with.
I would have fun playing this character, right?
Same here.
And also, you know, there are so many different ways you could build a staff fighter, as we mentioned, so many different classes. Everybody is literally proficient in staff, right? Everybody gets that weapon, and then it is just a matter of like, how can you? What are the things you can do to make you better with it? I mean, I would love to hear your ideas for builds and how you would build a staff fighter down in the comments below. But the question is like, how would we use this NPC?
So this is the one that you could easily take in so many different directions. You know, is this, you know, more the NPC, the hermit, the person who's a ex-adventurer who's kind of retired that comes to the character's aid or need at, you know, a crucial time? Or is this the unassuming like bandit lord who just kind of like lies in the along the path, and you're like, oh, he's unassuming. It's a turtle in plain clothes with a staff. Whoop-de-flip-and-do. Perhaps, you know, you kind of tweak this and you give him deception, and, you know, he's pretending to be old, and, you know, as you come to him and have a conversation, and bam, all of a sudden he just unloads on, you know, whoever he thinks is the easiest to just drop, because all he's looking to do is get your loot and get out.
Yeah, like you step with him 5 feet, he slams you with his staff before you even know what's going on, and then like he unloads, you know, another 5 times with that staff. But I was actually thinking like a different route. Like I envision this character as an NPC that the players they find them on the road. He invites them to like hang out and share his camp, and he's got his little like wagon that he's pulling. Maybe there's like vegetables in it or something. I don't know. Hermes, his giant tortoise, is pulling it. But like throughout the night, he just loves regaling the players and their characters with stories and history, and really like to the point where maybe like they're regretting stopping. Because also he's a turtle, probably has. I would definitely give him like a really slow speech pattern as well. A little bit of inspiration from the Bugs Bunny tortoise and the hare cartoon there, and then like you can have something happen where he interacts and helps the players when the camp gets attacked at night or something, and they just see this like really like slow moving, methodical, relaxed NPC just kind of hanging out, but then all of a sudden that staff comes out and he just whoops a monster with basically a stick and hits the thing so many times before they even know what's going on.
It becomes a blur of motion is what you're saying.
Pretty much.
I mean, that definitely is.
Or you can just go Donatello with it, whatever you guys want. But then I think you might be making an artificer.
Yes, I definitely feel that Donatello would be in the direction of the artificer. Like if you went monk, you'd be like Master Oogway. The turtle with a stick has been done several times. So
it's not new.
This is not a unique concept, but it was definitely a lot of fun to build. There's a lot of different directions that you could take with this, depending upon whether you're looking for him to be friendly, neutral, or villainous. But yeah.
So, let us know down in the comments. How would you use it as an NPC? Would you use either of our ideas and maybe you got one better?
While you're down there, don't forget to do all those things that make the YouTubes happy. Like, share, subscribe, even go ahead and click on that notification bell.
Quick reminder, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we drop new videos on the channel. Come back, see what we got. But hey, you can't wait that long. Don't worry, we have you covered. Up here, you can find a Staff Master Theorycraft Guide. Check it out.
So until next time, stay nerdy.